Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Economist Professor Eric Esibe is urging the private sector to support initiatives by government to diversify the economy. According to him, the call for diversification is very critical that government alone cannot handle. He was speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the graphic business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting held in Accra.
That we are looking more into import substitution products, right, that are going to be produced here. And therefore, it's one thing that the business people having the need to invest in such resources, and there's another thing, the people themselves demanding the product that come out of the produce. And so, as I mentioned, it's a collective responsibility, and it will mean that we need to have some kind of attitudinal change. We need to have a positive attitude towards made in Ghana products. Change our taste and preferences towards that, because if they produce and we don't demand it, they will not be able to build the necessary capacity that will help them to be able to participate into the global or the regional value chain. And so we need to start from home, so that the whole talk about diversification is not only the responsibility of the states, it is the responsibility of the private sector, producers, and then the consumers. All of us have to come together to make it happen. Otherwise, no amount of investment can really help to sustain, production. We've seen businesses that have started, that often because of lack of markets and demand for their produce, they fizzled out.
Now, senior partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Vish Ashiagbo, who also spoke to us at the event, believes that the Bank of Ghana and the commercial banks in the country should be empowered to support businesses to facilitate economic growth.
Banks mobilize money from depositors, right? And that comes at a cost. So they need to pay that, they need to cover their own costs, and then perhaps make a small margin on top of that. So if you look at these various inputs, something has to give for the interest rates to come down. And in an overall economy where you have a certain level of inflation, I don't think any depositor will be motivated to leave their money in a bank and be getting or be losing value, let's say. So the whole macroeconomic equation comes to play when you talk about the interest rates that banks charge. Then, of course, there's a risk element. I mentioned earlier that those of us in private sector must also take a certain amount of responsibility in terms of how we manage our businesses, how we keep records, because all these things speak to risk. And these are risks that the banks try to price and to cover as part of their interest rates. So to the extent that your business is well run, to the extent that your business has records that are clear, to the extent that your business has good management practices, I think you can reduce some element of those interest rates. But of course, it's not necessarily within your power to deal with the bigger issues such as the level of inflation in the economy, for which the bank is also trying to cover. And within the bank's own control is how they manage their costs, which is why a lot of them are also pushing digitization and other things, just as we have discussed today. So it's a long-standing problem, but I think there are efforts ongoing in that direction. But as I always say, it's a shared responsibility, and private sector also has a role to play in that.